Hi, welcome everyone. Hi, MUET candidates. So this is a very quick video on how to write a Band 5 email for MUET. All right, when I say Band 5 email, I mean indicatively. Of course, you do need to remember, you have to, of course, practice consistently and also do well for all 4 components if you're targeting a Band 5. All right, but this sample that I'm going to share with you here is indicative of a candidate being able to obtain Band 5. Right? So of course, strategic practice and consistency is key. So it's important to be quite specific in your practice. Practice these types of questions, all right, before you go for your MUET sitting. All right, so shall we begin? This is a sample question that I have actually taken from a Pelangi published book, the Model Test Papers MUET, that is written by Audrey Koh. If you would like to get a copy, please, of course, go online and you'll be able to get your own. It's a very useful book, okay? All right, so I'll just go through this very quickly. The intention of this video is actually to show a sample for those of you who are already quite familiar with the concept and also the structure of this question. If you are completely new to it, then I would advise for you to watch my other video on the introduction to writing an email. Okay, all right, shall we begin? So I'll do it very quickly. You are advised to spend 25 minutes on this task. The reason why, there is a time limit for this exam. You have 2 questions, so 25 minutes, yeah? Something to adhere to. And you're advised to write at least 100 words in an appropriate style. Of course, we're talking about 100 words, at least 100 words if we're talking about targeting something like a band 3, 3.5, that sort of thing. But if we're looking at a higher band, then I advise for you to be a little bit more expressive, especially if you can actually manage this in 25 minutes, okay? All right, something to note also, it's compulsory for you to use the notes that are actually given here in the email. And then of course, you obtain your marks by writing the reply, all right? Okay, so what is the circumstance here? Your brother, Rashid, has just enrolled in a public university to continue his tertiary education there. Read the email from him asking about the family and your preparation about your upcoming examinations. So from Rashid, I have arrived in England. Let's read the email together very quickly. Hi, how have you been? I'm really missing the whole family now that I have arrived safely. It was very touching that everyone showed up at the airport to send me off. Could you do me a favor and tell everyone that I'm doing well and the weather in London is not that cold? You are instructed to reply, sure, I will. Then of course, there are some things that you need to expand on. You would use the information in the paragraph as a prompt, perhaps talk about how you are also missing him, your family as well, and also talking perhaps about the weather, okay? Second paragraph, Mom and Dad mentioned that they would like to visit me here in June during summer. Please tell them that they should start doing some online research to find out what they would like to do here, and will you be joining us? You are instructed to reply, yes, of course. And of course, here you would elaborate on the online research that was mentioned and also visiting your brother in June in summer, right? Next paragraph, I remember that you told me your exams are around the corner. Are you ready to face them? Do tell me about your preparations. You're asked to describe. So perhaps share the process, yeah? And then your brother goes on, I'm a little worried about my studies. I always get nervous before exams. Do give me some advice on how to stay calm before I take a test, since you seem to always do well during examinations. So then you tell Rashid and give the advice that he has asked for. Okay, that's all for now. Write soon, Rashid. All right. So how do we actually write the email? I would say use the notes for sure, and also use the prompts that are given to you in the email itself. All right. So let me give an example of the introduction. Of course, you start with Dear Rashid. All right. The greeting can be very straightforward and also strategic. Since you already know that your brother is homesick and kind of missing the family because he's far away in England and you are in Malaysia. So of course, start a greeting relating to that. All right, you would see in this introduction sample that I had written, the green is actually the expansion and the yellow is actually to answer the question as per the notes. All right, so if you're targeting something that is of a higher band like 5, your expansion does need to be quite elaborate. Okay, so dear Rashid, I hope you are not too homesick and making many friends there. Everyone at home still misses you greatly because your brother talked about missing the family, right? But we know that it's important for you to be in England. I'm glad that London is not as cold as we imagined because he mentioned the weather. And yes, I will inform mom and dad about it. All right, so you see everything that I had written here is actually based off the first paragraph. Okay, so you don't need to, well, crack your head to think about what to actually write. Yeah. Okay, so moving on. The second paragraph. The second paragraph requires for you to answer your brother about, yes, of course, that you are joining them, right? And also to talk about your parents' visit there in June for summer and also the online research. Yeah. So I answer, yes, of course, I won't miss this opportunity to visit you in London. I'm answering the question. Expansion. In fact, we have started our online research on London and even the whole country as we plan to stay for 4 weeks. It would be fun to spend the whole summer there, even though the idea of snowy winter holiday would be fun too. I am helping mom and dad plan a travel itinerary for our time there because we want to fully utilize our time there and not miss any interesting places. So as you can see, everything that I had written here is actually based off also the paragraph about planning the online research. Perhaps to talk about travel itinerary would be useful here as a target vocabulary, and also about visiting the different places. I've expanded by talking a little bit about, a snowy winter because since the seasons were actually brought out in the email. Yeah. Okay, moving on. This is the next paragraph. Your brother is asking you about your examinations and the preparation. Yeah. Okay, so we are glad that you will be having summer break when we are there to visit you so that we can explore England together. However, you mentioned that you are struggling with exam preparations now. Perhaps I can offer you some advice on exam preparation. Okay, so here, I've written this first line here about how the brother is having summer and that sort of thing. Why? It's because it's for coherence. I want for the paragraph to flow. And then after that, I answer the question about exam preparations. Yeah? So I use a, let's say, connective device here, like for instance, I always have a study schedule, which is quite flexible. It is important to be strategic with the use of your time and practice model exam papers, right? So of course, whatever that you actually write here, it doesn't quite matter. It can be any advice. What's important is that you actually answer the question as per the instructions of the notes, okay? All right, moving on. So this is the last paragraph. The last paragraph, your brother mentions about being very nervous for exams and things like that. So you're supposed to tell Rashid how you actually prepare and stay calm, okay? So honestly, I am also always quite nervous when taking exams. For every student, exams are an unnerving experience. However, there are some techniques that I can suggest, such as breathing exercises to help you focus on your goal. I also find that making good study notes is key to exam preparation. This combination is key to exam success. All right. So again, all the examples that you give as advice to your brother can be anything, but just remember, answer the question. Okay. So what I would usually do is when I'm actually planning my answer for this, I'll just put notes by the side here about what are the things I want to use as my content. And then after that, I write it out, of course. Yeah. Then you end with looking forward to see you soon. And in the meantime, all the best in your exam. So it's also very specific. Your brother writes about being there and also you guys going over to visit him. So of course, you're looking forward to see him. You talked also in half of the email about exam preparations and his exam preparations, so you would say that too, okay? And then of course, sign off with a appropriate name. In this case, it's Ahmad, all right? Okay, so I hope this was actually useful for some of you as a sample, especially for those of you who wonder what is the actual requirement or the expectation of your email reply when you are targeting a Band 5. Okay, all right, so happy revising everyone and all the best.